What's up, y'all? Back at it once again. A Coast Gift Fun Day. Dropping this African history for you and yours, like we always do. You know what I'm saying? And first of all, I gotta give much love to my ancestors for giving me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And second, I give praises and due to y'all for watching and whatnot. I want to make sure that y'all understand that with this channel here, you're gonna get scholarship. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you do, because I'm not gonna come out here like some of these other cats and just run off out their mouth about a bunch of stuff. I'm going to show you where I got it from. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to talk about it with you and my opinion on it and stuff like that. This is what this channel is basically is about, on African history too. If you just run off the mouth and just can't show shit and just, do video cutaways and shit like that, this ain't for you. All right? Because a lot of y'all cats out here just lacking scholarship. Anywho, this is the Negro History Bulletin. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to do this for the Queens. They also serve a National Association of Colored Women, Inc. Now, this is a very good, article that comes from, like I said, the Negro History Bulletin. And talk about what Black women had their own little organizations and stuff, not little. They had their own organizations, was doing their own thing, making stuff happen. So we're going to do in this article, it's only 5 pages. They also serve the National Association of Colored Women, Inc. The story of the rise of women's status to equality of opportunity and service in America cannot be told completely without completing the contributions made by the National Association of Colored Women to this social change. Although a specific concern of the National Association has been with women, particularly women of color, is affiliated with the National Council of Women, USA, Inc., and with the International Council of Women, which we have a video about. We got a video about them already. I'm including in this package. The National Association of Colored Women was organized in Washington, D.C. on July 21st, 1896, in the 19th Street Baptist Church, of which the late Dr. Walter H. Brooks was pastor. The year before, in 1895, a meeting was held in Boston with the representatives from the National Colored Women League and the National Federation of African American Women. Mrs. Helen R. Cook of Washington, D.C., represented the League, and Mrs. Josephine St. Pierre Ruffin, president of the Women Era Club of Boston, represented the Federation. A temporary organization was formed with Mrs. Booker T. Washington as the chairman. When the two groups met next year in Washington, they merged into the corporate name that still bears, the National Association of Colored Women, Inc. Mrs. Mary Terrell Church was the first elected president. In the words of Mrs. Terrell, quoted from a short history of the movement, NACW Yearbook, 1952, the first and a real reason that our women began to use clubs as a means of improving their conditions and that of their race is that they are progressive. From that day, the Colored Women Federals was broken, her mind released from the darkness of ignorance, and it was held for nearly 300 years, and she could stand erect in the dignity of womanhood, no longer brought, but free to this minute. Generally speaking, she has been forging ahead steadily, acquiring knowledge and exceeding herself strenuously in the promotion of the welfare of her race. The association has functioned continuously for 58 years. And at its first meeting, 25 states represented by 73 delegates reporting a membership of less than 5,000. At its 57th anniversary convention held in Los Angeles, California in 1952, more than 1,100 delegates were enrolled from 44 states, the District of Columbia, Hawaii, and Haiti, representing a member of more than 100,000. Women who organized the National Association of Colored Women, Inc. were far-sighted. They recognized the handicaps of all women in social, industrial, and educational opportunities, but were especially interested in the problems of women of color who are aided the disadvantage of discrimination because of the race and economic status. They recognized the need to uplift all workers in all levels of community life, so they concerned themselves with existing social ills. They found then that it's still true today. The fundamental need of working women are equality of opportunity and of pay, as well as provision for care of children of absentee mothers. Since most Negroes must work to compensate for the low-paying wages of their husbands, the National Association felt a pressing obligation to offer a plan to offset these employee problems. Club leaders decided to raise the standard of life in the Negro communities for all mothers by seeking equal opportunity for all mothers, by providing nurseries and other care for children of working mothers, by orienting Negro working girls into the industrial life of the city, and establishing home for problems for boys and girls. Now I want to take a pause right here. Marcus Garvey said this the best, and Dr. Amos Wilson, he really said it really better. I'm going to use this term. That the welfare of your race is the welfare, is your problem. You know what I'm saying? It's not the government problem. It's not nobody else's problem. The welfare of your race is your situation that you got to take care of. And this is a lot of things these black organizations, that's so-called black organizations, run around here today. You know what I'm saying? As I said before, they had provided a nursery and other care for children of working mothers by orienting Negro girls into working industry life in the cities and establishing a home for problem boys and girls. You understand? Let's get back to it. Among such projects started by the National Women's, some were still maintained by them, others were aided and maintained by state legislative appropriations. Maybe listed such schools as the Janie Porter Barnett Industrial School at the Peak Turnout in Virginia. This school was established by Mrs. Barnett when she was president of the Virginia Federation of the Colored Women's Club, and for many years was financed by that group until it went under state control in 1948. Other schools and institutions sponsored by the state affiliates of the National Association of Colored Women, Inc., known familiarly as NACW, Inc., included a school for delinquents at Mount Meigs, Alabama, as well as a home for the mentally deficient and a summer camp in the state. In Arkansas, it is found a girls' home at Fargo housed 6 buildings on a 700-acre of arable land. The Association of California brought and still support Fannie Wall's Children's Home and Daycare Nursery at Oakland, as well as the Sojourner Truth Home and Madam C.J. Walker Home, both of Los Angeles. The City Federation of Denver, Colorado owns and operates Denver Day Nursery, housed and equipment that costs about $50,000, and supervised by a staff of 7 trained workers. Among other projects, the Florida Federation established and still sponsors a home for delinquent girls at Ocala, which is assessed at $150,000. Georgia, the state which NACW women started the first nursery school in the South, maintains a child clinic in Albany, a home for working girls on Raymond Street in Atlanta, and a training school for girls in Macon. They also sponsor another training school and an old folks home in Savannah. In addition to these projects, the Georgia Club women founded and still work with the old folks home in Valdosta, a library, a kindergarten project at Waycross, a community project at Macon. The Washington, D.C. and the Vicinity Federation, founded by Miss Julia West Hamilton, has one affiliated club, the Tuesday Evening Club of Social Workers, which owns the building it is in, and which is housed in the Northwest Section Solomon House, which pays only a nominal fee for its use. The Empire State Federation of New York, an affiliate of the NACW, owns and controls 6 projects, including 4 club houses, the Colored Women Clubhouse at New Rochelle, the White Rose Mansion, an association which maintains a Christian home for the girls in New York City, the Women's Civic and Political Union of Staten Island, and the Negro Women's Club of Rochester. There are other activities supported of the summer camp group and the maintenance at Albany, New York, of a monument erected by the Women's Club in honor of Harriet Tubman, hero of the Underground Railway, and a member of the NACW, Inc. The state of Mississippi has secured through its own efforts and later with state aid a colony for the feeble-minded School of the Blind and home for delinquent youth. Its current activity is a recreational center at Clinton, located 160 acres of land with summer housing, swimming facilities, and $10,000 in hand for auditorium. Until racial discrimination was abolished at the University of Iowa, the Iowa Association of Colored Women maintained a clubhouse for Negro students on this campus. The membership of the Pennsylvania State Federation of Negro Women Club started and still aids the Ruth Bennett Center at Chesterfield. In 1912, the South Carolina Federation founded a home for girls at a cost of $30,000. This home is now state aid and been named the Marion Bill Wilkerson Orphanage in honor of the state president. Texas Club sponsored and state financed school at Bradley, Texas, a training school for delinquent girls. Oklahoma members of the NCW Inc. have filed many needs for Negroes of their community who have been deprived of facilities provided by public funds. They start and still function with a boy training school at Boiling and one for the girls at Taft, Oklahoma. This federation founded libraries at Guthrie, Muskogee, and Pontiac City. At Omagari is a club center. Elma Petit Adams of the Surge House, another of one of their projects, is a 75,000 Brock Center at Oklahoma City, which contains offices, dormitories, facilities, and an auditorium. The Illinois Association of Colored Women operates at the Maud E. Smith Interracial Nursery School, now housed in Chicago in the Northern District Association Clubhouse, a new 50,000 plant. The Phyllis Willie Home of Working Girls in Chicago was founded and operated by the Federate Club Women. And Cincinnati, Ohio City Federation owns a spacious clubhouse that serves as a center locale of civic activities. The Jesse Garner Home in Marion, Ohio is maintained by the NACW Inc., women of that city. Another club project in Ohio is the Delaware Old Industrial Training School for girls. The Kansas Association of Colored Women reports the following club: a project at 35,000 Phyllis Willie Home at Wichita, a home for unmarried mothers at Topeka, valued at 24,000, and a 18.5 club home at Topeka. The Indiana Federation Club will continue to maintain a stud clubhouse at the Indianapolis. The Kentucky Association still directs a day nursery at Lexington, and day camp for boys and girls, and a health camp at Lexington, and a home for the aged in Louisville, and a hospital in Frankfort. The Massachusetts State Union of Women's Club, under whose experiences the National Association of Colored Women, Inc. holds its birth, continuing its interest in the Harriet Tubman Home for Working Girls in the Robert Goldshaw Service Center in Boston, and a New Bedford Home for the Aged. The above lists indicate only a partial part of the property value of our affiliated state holdings, and only a few of their social and civic activities. Nor has the National Association confined itself to these projects alone, but has incorporated many other national organizations in their project. This attitude on the part of the NACW is inherent of this constitutional pledge to participate and support all working causes in the interests of the advancement of the Negro population as a whole, and of women in particular. During the 2 world wars, the National Association of Women have worked loyalty to improve the social morale and for a greater recognition of Negro participants in the sale of bonds. Both the late Mrs. Jeannie B. Moulton, the 11th president, and Mrs. Christina S. Smith, the 13th president, have been given awards of merit by the U.S. Treasury Department for their work on the sale of war bonds. Who knew that? The NACW Inc. was well represented at the founding of the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People and has maintained loyal to its program. The Fair Employment Practices Commission, the FEPC, has supported and cooperated from the local, state, and national affiliates, as well as the national office of the NACW Inc. Programs of the Urban League, the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, the United Nations Program, the UNESCO, Federal Department projects, the allied activities have been incorporated into the plans of the national in its cooperation with the Frederick Douglass Memorial and Historical Association, affiliate of the NCW, in producing a 16mm film, A House on Cedar Hill. In 1912, during the administration of the 7th president, Mrs. Holly Gwen Brown of Wilberforce, Ohio, NACW Inc. made its first appeal for $50,000 with the status of Scholarship Loan Fund. This fund has increased since that time and is under the management of its own board. Mrs. Mary McLeod Bethune, the 8th president, made a purchase of a national headquarters, the principal project of her administration. That plan was fulfilled with the purchase of a cost of $25,000, a spacious building on 12th and O Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. After a convocation and improvement of the headquarters, the National note that the magazine was funded by Mrs. Booker T. Washington, the fifth president, in 1906, and is published at the National Headquarters Building. A public relations program is carried on under the guidance of the President's Suite, with the headquarters and secretary maintained for conferences. That's what's up. Setting up the policies for the plan of growth, the major department of the National Association of Colored Girls, organized by the ninth president, Mrs. Sally W. Stewart of Indiana. Through this department, girls are trained for membership in the parent body and oriented to the methods of community work. Other well-known presidents who have contributed to the progress of the National Association of Colored Women include Josephine Salone Lates, the second president and its founder, Mrs. Lucy Thurman, a noted feminist. We don't have a lot more about Lucy Thurman. You know what I'm saying? Many people sleep on her. Elizabeth Carter Brooks, an educator and a member of the National YMCA board. The fourth president, Dr. Mary Fleming Warren, a health authority and proponent of accredited health program of the NACW Inc., was the 10th president. Mrs. Ida Bell DeMint, the 12th president, and Mrs. Ella Phillips Stewart, the 14th president, both set the pattern of business efficiency for the organization that has given the credit ratings with other national groups. Mrs. Christina Smith, the 13th president, set the idea for the administration of social action through club participation. Under the guidance of the early president of the National Association, fulfillment of the fundamental purpose of improving living standards of the Negro family, making the working conditions better for the Negro working women and their children, and providing educational opportunities for Negro youth. Through its committees and its departments, NACW Inc. has integrated its own membership into all facets of community life. The early presidents did a monumental job of lifting as we climb up. Each administration made a big step forward to its planned goals. Mrs. Irene McCoy Gaines of Chicago, the current president, acknowledges the value of all the work that has gone before. She believes that the work in today's world is challenging to all women of goodwill. Therefore, she advocates the National Association of Women in a complete participation in the One World program in a more direct way and wider area of influence that make them part of the straight sisterhood of all humanity. Speaking at a regional group of women club recently, Mrs. Gaines stated, the National Association of Colored Women, Inc. does inspire Negro women of America to keep in step with the progress made by women of all other groups, and through organized effort to win themselves a greater and wider freedom. Today's world is not the same in which our founders lived. They serve in a horse and buggy era. These are the days of atomic energy. In our 50 years of work, there have been many changes and improvements. The telephone, the radio, the television, aerial flight, and the splitting of the atom. These services, she believes too often, are being used for destructive purposes. She thinks the use of a more constructive good of mankind. Negro women must work hand in hand with others to bring possible blessings of all people as a result of societal changes now in progress. The basis of the new world available through a scientific theory. The administration of the organization has dedicated to harness the power of 100,000 women membership, function in 44 states, the District of Columbia, and in Hawaii and Haiti for the good of all. Not only continue concentrated effort based on old patterns, but to use it more directly to help solve the everyday problems of housing, health, unemployment, illiteracy, discrimination of all kinds, and of delinquency of both youth and adult. These women are the NACW Inc. Their name is the Legion. Let me read this again. These women are NACW Inc. Their name is Legion. Their will to serve is without limit, and their power for good is without measure. With their 50-year motto, lifting as we climb, still as their beacon, they stand ready to the last women to answer the call in this battle word of ours to better the place in which we live. All right, and that's that right there. Let's keep on going. So that's that right there, you know what I'm saying, about the Women's League and about the good things they did in how they did this stuff. Notice all the property too. You know what I'm saying? That's one good thing we should notice, that, we should notice all the property that they put out there and they built up for the people. Remember, the welfare of your people is your responsibility. All right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's look at another group. The Jews do a good thing. They got a couple worldwide organizations. You know what I'm saying? They even feed their people in Ukraine right now. There ain't nobody starving. You know what I'm saying? They got groups and stuff like that to help get them out of there. Networks. The people, your people is your responsibility. And that makes you look bad when you see poor Black people or people of African descent. That makes you look bad, or Aboriginal descent. So you got to have a plan to take care of your people. That's what a nation does. All right? Still a nation building concept right here, even though there was kind of fruity kind of integration in this, you know what I'm saying? It was still in that, you know what I'm saying? It was still a nation build concept, because that's the welfare of your people is your responsibility. You know, they're going to let nobody else take care of them. They built these schools for the girls and the blind and the deaf, you know what I'm saying? And for the delinquent children too. Let's get our children back. That's what we can to do it. Let's have a daycare, you know what I'm saying? All they says let's have a nursery, you know what I'm saying? A nursery home to help this village, because it takes a village to raise these kids. You understand? And that also brought more of a camaraderie amongst our people. You understand? Because you ain't gonna have any old body watching kids, but you know, this group camaraderie, this collective effort of making stuff happen. Black people owning property and doing big things, and you know these people, you see them every day. They got a daycare, of course. You know what I'm saying? Some trained facilities. Of course, you're gonna go there. And all does it take? That's all it takes is you. You know what I'm saying? To decide that you ain't gonna have it no more, and you can decide to snap off and do these things. And it should be innately natural, right? But they got us under this civil stuff. But that's another video for another time. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I want to make sure you understand that they held a lot of property. They had big turnouts and stuff like that, and they was doing big things for their community. So this is the Coast Gift Fund Day. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This is all we dropping is African history with scholarship. Peace.